Hey, what's up guys, Zork's here back with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at every single version of the live-action Batmobile in LEGO form. So yes, LEGO, quite out of the ordinary, I must say. Anyway, LEGO has been a huge part of my childhood, and I'm sure it's also been part of your childhood as well, as it's pretty much everywhere. LEGO is pretty much the top toy brand like ever in the world as far as I'm concerned. The entirety of the building blocks and building some of your favorite character sets. I remember there being Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, but mainly Lego Batman was something that was pretty big, and there even has been a movie about it. So yeah, needless to say, if you don't know what Lego is, then that's up to you. But today I wanted to show you guys a little bit of my Lego collection. And this is something I'm very excited about and I'm very happy about because I've been kind of building this collection over the years. I started over here with the Bvs Batmobile, where Ben Affleck's sitting over there. And I kind of worked my way up. I really appreciate that LEGO has gone through and recreated a lot of the original vehicles from back in the day, because I know the Tumbler had its own LEGO set, but it wasn't the greatest looking thing now. And then same with the 1989 Michael Keaton Batmobile. So over the past few years, I kind of built on with getting the Robert Pattinson Batmobile. I got the Adam West Batmobile, along with the Tumbler, and of course the latest 1989 Batmobile that just came out. So now that I have all 5 of them collected, I want to just showcase it to you guys over here. I should note as well, this isn't every single live-action Batmobile. It's just every single live-action Lego Batmobile that's ever been formed. Because we're still missing George Clooney's Batmobile in here. We're missing Val Kilmer's Batmobile over here. Lego never ended up making those, so hopefully they do one day. But for now, this is what we have for our live-action collection. Now looking at the Adam West Batmobile over here, as you can see, it's quite the replica of the actual movie Batmobile. I do say movie because Adam West did have a movie, and that's the reason why I'm, including him in this collection of live-action Batmobiles. Adam West Batman was mainly known for the 66 TV show. And so it's translated really well over here. You see that I have the Adam West action figure over here, or at least Lego minifigure. Yeah, he's pretty cool. But, Lego minifigures are awesome and all. But I'm really big fan of these builds because, it's kind of a recreation of the live-action Batmobile. And it looks really nice, as I said. As you can see, it's got the little mirror sort of thing going on over here that you can see on the actual car. It's got the bat symbol at the ends. It does have the emergency bat turn lever at the top, which is pretty cool. So lots of little details. You can also see there that it's the detectoscope from the TV show as well. You got the classic red bat phone over there for when Commissioner Gordon ever calls in. And yeah, you can see it's very dusty because it has been sitting on the shelf for quite a while. At the end over here, you do have the exhaust and also this sort of exhaust going up at the top over here. But you do have a trunk that you can sort of store your stuff in there. So as you can see, I put a couple batarangs in there, which is pretty cool. And that looks really nice as well too. And that definitely does look like, at least the shape of the Batmobile from the show. And then of course you have the other side over here, once again the bat symbol, and I didn't even note it, but you do have the little bat symbols on the wheels too, which look really nice. And yeah, and then at the front, as I already showed, you also do have the red guns that are there as well too, which is really nice. When it comes to many Lego sets, there's nothing really much going on the bottom other than just these bricks. But otherwise, it's a pretty cool looking set. Now, as I said already, this Batmobile is from the Lego Batcave set. I don't know if it is the better one. I don't mind it. I think it's pretty cool. But there is one that comes in a sort of smaller pack that's just Batman and the Joker. And that one's really nice as well too. I may even say that one's a little bit better because I know that one's a little bit shorter than this one. It really comes to personal preference. I would honestly go with that one if you are looking to pick something like this up, because that one's probably the easier one to get. Next up, we got the 1989 Michael Keaton Batmobile over here. And as I said, this is the latest one that I put in my collection because they have come out with more 1989 Lego sets this year at least. I think it's mainly because of the Flash movie, just with Michael Keaton returning and all. But this one just came out, and this was, my latest addition to the collection and final addition to the collection. And yeah, this one's really great too. As you see, I got the Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne Batman over here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So, but yeah, we're not talking about the minifigures today. We're talking about the car. So this car over here is really nice as well too. And unlike the 66 Batmobile, as I said, this one's all black. And that's not a problem. I love my Batmobiles being all black. That's literally what they're that's how they're supposed to be created. And if anything, this right here, this 1989 Batmobile is seriously like the pinnacle point of Batmobiles in live action, because this is really what created the Batmobile for me. This is what all Batmobiles relate to in some way. It's this vehicle right here. And did they translate it well in Lego form? Well, yeah, I'd like to say so. It looks good for the most part. I really like the shape of it. It's long as it's supposed to be. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of with this is when you turn over like that. It does look a little bit straight over here. It doesn't really go out as it does in the actual 89 car. But, you know, I don't mind it. And even from like the front here, this does look a little bit straight as well. But, you know, it still matches it has all the details in there. It has the sort of like the missile sort of shape going up over here. I don't think he ever used a missile in the films, but at least has that shape at the front there. The lights at the front look really good. You have the wheels over here. You see a bit of the inside of the car over here, which is really nice with all the details. You also have this piece over here. I'll show you what it does in just a second. And they do have the sort of wings that go up and around, and those were built really nice as well too. You have the actual fire coming out of the exhaust on this one over here, and it works really well because the mechanics that went into this allow for the fire to move when the wheels move, so that's pretty cool over there. Really adds the playability to it. You have the rest of the exhaust over there along with the lights, which is really nice. And you also, like the Adam West car, you also do have a bit of a trunk over here. If you open this up, you have all the weapons in there, which is really nice. And then on the other side, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Nothing's really going on except for that port. The port's gone on this side. And if you look in the inside of the car, crazy enough, it's a one-seater. So I always thought that the Batmobile from '89 was a two-seater. But I guess for this, just because they couldn't fit it in, they just put in the one-seater. But what I really wanted to showcase over here was this sort of this knob that you can see at the end over here. And cool enough, this is so cool. You pull this up and look what happens. That is awesome. That's ripped straight out from the '89 film with the sort of guns coming up, and there's such a cool, you know, action that you can do with this. Next up, we do have the Tumbler over here. I call it the Tumbler. This is not so much the Batmobile as it's more of a tank, if anything. But, you know, for Christopher Nolan's films, it was considered to be the Batmobile. But anyway, let's get into it. As you can see over here, I have my Christian Bale Batman, who's unmasked. And yeah, it's pretty cool. But as I said, we're here for the vehicles. And unlike the '89 Batmobile, this is the Batmobile that I pretty much grew up on. And so this one has a special place in my heart, especially with how they sort of created the design. So on the side over here, you can see it does have that similar shape that the Tumbler does have. And I must say they did a really good job at trying to capture it. From the front over here, you do have that classic sort of, you know, windshield piece. Just the way how it's kind of like caved in. Looks really nice, and of course you have a bit of sticker pieces over there. You have the wheels that look pretty good as well. You can't really see it, but there are the light pieces that are here that are supposed to mimic where the lights are like at the top of the vehicle. So that's pretty nice as well too. At the other side, you do have the same sort of thing going on. And one thing I must say I like more about this vehicle than the '89 Batman vehicles, the fact that there are like little yellow bits and like gold pieces that, you know, are sprawled throughout. So it gives more, as I said, with the '66 Batmobile, it gives it more of a pop. Although with this one here specifically, it's not too big to the point where it's not really like Batman's like all black car, but at least it's just enough. It's just enough where it's believable. Yeah, this side looks pretty good as well too, along with the big wheels in the back over there. And then the back here does get a little bit lacy looking, I must say, with the gray pieces up top over here. But I think it does look pretty similar to how it does in the film. The exhaust looks really good. And you do have this sort of like suspenders at the back there as well too. I don't know if you can see it, but they're kind of gold as well. And like I said, I really like that. There's a little bit of color sprawled throughout in it. Yeah, and the top looks good as well too, along with the bottom over here. These were extra pieces that I just stuck on, but yeah, as I said, the bottom doesn't really have, you know, too much going on with these Lego sets. And if you open up the cockpit over here, you can see that this one, unlike the '89 Batmobile, actually has two seats, so you can go ahead and sit Rachel in there, which is really nice. And it does have the sort of green, you know, sort of tech in there, like the computer has the green look. But anyway, that's about it with this vehicle over here. As I said, you know, it's not the it's not the greatest Batmobile, I don't think. I mean, it's very recognizable. Don't get me wrong on that, but you know, it's more so of a tumbler. And when you have a character like Batman, especially in a realistic scenario, sure, like you could have you can have him drive in a giant ass tank all around the place, but really, when he's trying to get out of situations, where's that exactly going to get him? We've seen that what happens with that in the film as well too, especially with the Joker blowing up the tumbler in itself. So nonetheless, though, I'm a really big fan of this, and I think that they did a great job in trying to capture this in Lego form. And here we have the BVS Batmobile over here, or Ben Affleck's Batmobile, and this one is the oldest of the bunch. I will say that because this one was the first one that I ended up collecting out of all these cars over here. And it's very dated. You know, it's a lot smaller than other Batmobiles, or the other Batmobiles, but you know, it's still really good for what it is, I think, and we'll get into it in a second. But anyway, here you have the Ben Affleck minifigure over here. Once again, I kind of customized his unmasked, you know, head. And then I also customized his cape way back when. As you can see on the cape over here, there are, you know, a little bit of cuts that I put in there. And yeah, I had to sacrifice a black cape, but I think it turned out really well because at the time that BVS Batman sort of had the sort of cuts at the bottom over there instead of having like a full-fledged, like, you know, these other Batman minifigures where they kind of have the curves. It's more so just a tattered cape. But anyway, I'm getting too much into it. Anyway, here's the car over here, and this one looks really good as well too. I always loved the BVS Batmobile because it kind of reminded me of a version that was between the Tumbler and sort of the 89 Batmobile. It was more sporty-like, so, you know, he was able to get around in it, and then at the same time, it was a freaking tank. Well, okay, not straight up like a tank, but like it could definitely move through things without getting, you know, destroyed. Unless if you go up against Superman. But anyway, this vehicle over here, you know, it is sort of capture that look. You have the guns in the front over there. You have the missile shooters that are at the top over here that we did see him use in Batman v Superman. On the side, you do see all the gear pieces in there. He's got both the wheels going on, and in the back, you do have what sort of mimics the exhaust, but I don't know, it's not the greatest thing ever. Same thing on the other side over here, and then at the top, I really like the shape of this car over here. Kind of has this like, sort of like an hourglass shape. And I think for this one, they actually came out with newer pieces with the cockpit over here. And this one was pretty cool as well too, because, you know, in Batman v Superman, when Superman ripped off the doors to the car, the doors kind of came out like this, so you could like recreate that with this car over here, and it was just pretty cool. It's pretty cool because you could have, you know, the doors open as they're supposed to in a film, and, you know, you kind of have that look over there, which, yeah, if you wanted to put your Superman there and then your Batman in the cockpit, that's some pretty cool stuff going on. But the cockpit itself, unlike the other ones, doesn't have too much detail going on in it, unfortunately. It just has these like sort of red tech pieces in there. But that's literally the extent of it. So, but overall, you know, it's still a really good car. It looks really good next to the other ones. And finally, for the Robert Pattinson, the Batman Batmobile over here, this is the final Batmobile of the collection, and I do have all the red going on just because that was such an aesthetic in the film. So I think it's only fitting to have for the Batmobile over here. But as you can see, you have the Robert Pattinson minifigure over here. And unlike the other, you know, Batman Lego sets, this one straight up came with an unmasked piece for Batman. Unfortunately, it did not have the sort of like black sort of eye makeup going on, but nonetheless, it was pretty cool. And this one's also pretty detailed as well too, to be honest. Like, look at that. It's got all the leg printing going on that too. But as I said, we're not here to look at the minifigures, so we're here to look at the cars. I must say, like, by far, this is probably my favorite Batmobile of the bunch. It's just the shape over here. Look at that. That is totally the shape of the Batmobile in the film. It definitely has a sort of like muscle car look going on. And over here too, you can actually see the sort of car on an angle. And that's not because the table's on an angle. It's straight up on an angle. And that really just gives off the sort of like muscle car look, which is so great. Looking in the front over here, yeah, like look at that. Looking at more detail over here, you can see it does have the sort of like armor look with all the black pieces going on over here. You do have a bit of a sticker over there that shows like the sort of like nails going in. You have a big windshield over here, which looks cool as well too. The front looks mean and gritty. You do have like the muscle car engine look going on over there as well too. This side here, similar thing. And the back, whew, wow, look at that. Yeah, the back over here with the engine exposed looks so cool with the exhaust ports over there as well too. You have the lights that are at the back of the car, and just overall looks so great. And there's the entire front of the car, or the top end of the car, I should say. And then pulling up, look at the cockpit. As you can see, this one, like the Tumbler, has a two-seater, which is nice as well too. You do have the wheel as well, and then really nice. And then even the bottom over here too. As I said again, you know, Lego's not the greatest with you know, the bottom of their cars, but the front of it, top over here, looks absolutely fantastic. And man, this one looks really close to the car in the film. I also wanted to mention with this one over here specifically too, you do get effect pieces. So, you know, in the film when he's speeding and you can see the fire coming out, and it's a blue fire this time around, which is really cool. But you can stick this piece in there, and then you do have the fire going out of the back. You have these pieces that go into the exhaust down here, which is really cool. And then another one of these pieces that go in at the front over here. And just look at that. Like, that is so awesome, especially for having it in a sort of display setting. It's a really nice thing to have these. And, you know, it really just, it gives more life to the vehicle, I think. And it just makes it a more striking piece on the shelf. Because, as I said, like with the 89 Batmobile, with all these Batmobiles, they're mainly just all black, which, as I said, is not a bad thing. But when you have it as a display piece, you kind of want, you know, some more things going on. And here, having these blue pieces, it really adds to it. So here they are all lined up. And I must say, all these vehicles have a special place in my heart. It's all different iterations of Batman, and for me, I love all the iterations of Batman, even the Adam West one, as, you know, as goofy and as campy as it might be. But overall, all these builds are probably the best versions of these vehicles, at least in my opinion, and I really enjoy having them all together, especially just to look at them all together, just to see what Batman has been like throughout each iteration. If I had to rank them, though, I would only rank it as a Lego build specifically. I don't really know what my favorite would be specifically with the Batmobiles in itself. I think I already said it earlier, but I would probably say the Ben Affleck one is my favorite, just because I feel like that's sort of a match with the Tumbler and the 89 Batmobile, which is pretty much the two best Batmobiles out there. But I do also like the Robert Pattinson one a little bit. It's more of a realistic approach, but if we're talking about like just Batman in general, I do think Ben Affleck has the better Batmobile. But anyway, here's how my ranking would go in terms of builds. So in last place, unfortunately, I think I would need to put the Bvs Batmobile. As much as I love this car, it just does not match with the other vehicles over here, just because it's dated and, you know, it's a little bit smaller in scale in comparison to other Batmobiles. So, like, I feel like this sort of version of the car should be a little bit bigger, especially in comparison with the rest of these ones over here. In fourth place would probably have to go the Adam West vehicle. That one mainly has to do with personal preference. You know, I love the 66 Batmobile, but for me, imagining what Batman is like, you know, I love 66 Batman, but it's not really the definitive Batman to me. It's still a great car, though, and as I said, I love the colors to it. Third place would probably have to go to the Dark Knight Batmobile over here, the Tumbler, and that's just because, you know, it's a great vehicle, but it doesn't really have too much going on, but I love the scale of it. It really fits in with the rest of the minifigures. Then in second, of course, would need to be the Michael Keaton Batmobile over here. I just love the interactivity with it, the sort of playability with, you know, having the guns flying out, the fire sort of moves in the back of the car as you're driving it around. And obviously, it's a very definitive sort of Batmobile look, because when I picture the Batmobile, probably the first one that comes up is the 89 one. But of course, my first place would definitely have to go to the Robert Pattinson Batmobile over here. I just love the look of this thing. For me, it's pretty much one-to-one. I just love the fire effects that are added onto it. And every part that you look at in the vehicle just has something new to look at, which I really appreciate as well too. But let me know in the comments down below which one's your favorite, and let me know what's your favorite Batmobile in general. But that's it, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A little bit of a different one with the Lego, I know. But if you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like down below, as it is always appreciated. But as every YouTuber begs you to do, please like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.